welcome to a very hot Podful of Saints on Tuesday, the 7th of September 2021. We're doing this at 7 o'clock on Tuesday night and it's still 25 degrees. Beautiful. Lee, you've obviously got your flip-flops on in this weather. How are you doing?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Not too bad.
I have to say, friends of the podcast, or the podcast which Jake and I were on year before last, that, good people, is the tangerine and charcoal number that Mr. Tavener is wearing. It's an absolute stunner. Where did you acquire that from, Tavs?
Oh, mine came from Fat Boy. When he got extradited to Scotland, he dumped all his dirty laundry on me, so I got it.
Hey, what are friends for, eh?
Yeah. I'm really sorry to see him go. How's things for you, Jake?
Not too bad, thank you. It's a bit too warm for me, but we'll get by.
Yes, it's almost unbearable. Right, tonight we've got one review, which is last Saturday's game at home to Chippenham Town. We've got a preview Slough Town this coming Saturday, and also a quick look in the FA Cup. If you haven't heard yet, a week on Saturday, we're away to Concord Rangers. Whoopee! Right, last Saturday, a 1-1 draw with Chippenham Town. They've made a good start to the season. They've had some good wins already. So a good point or 2 points dropped?
Well,
good point for me.
Yeah.
Lord.
Yeah. Sorry, Lee, go ahead.
No, go on, man. I was just saying, I thought they played exceptionally well. They had the better chances. You always and ah about Chippenham. They're all these sort of teams who sort of flatters to deceive. They can be decent, but they can also be absolute dross. On Saturday, I thought would we have of any arguments if we'd have lost that game?
I thought first half, they looked really good, really well organised and everything. And you expected them to go on, much like you expected Dartford down the park. And it didn't happen for Dartford. They got away with 2 late goals. And Chippenham, again in the second half, fell away. I was standing next to our former manager, Peter Lawrence, and he said he felt that Chippenham put so much into it in the first half, they wore themselves out and they had nothing left for the second half. They were relying on good breakaways because they had it planned. They had a plan, but it didn't come off second half. I know you only saw the highlights, Jake. Did any of that come across on the highlights?
It did indeed, but even in the highlights, second half, there were still a couple of chances for Chippenham to win it. That chance, I think, at 1-0, the man went through right-footed and he put it well wide of the post when he should have really found the bottom corner. And then late on, when the other lad picked the ball up in the box and tried to get round Johnson and sort of just didn't have the composure and just sliced it over the bar. We have to say fair play to Sean Jeffers. He converted his penalty. Of course, the keeper almost kept it out. But, that's what Jeffers does. He's so reliable from the spot. As long as it hits the back of the net, that's all we care about. So we did well there. Watching the highlights back, it looked like a penalty maybe just possibly caught him, but that's being generous. And the same with the Chippenham penalty.
Soft, Jake. Both of the penalties were soft.
Yeah, very soft.
But the thing is, though, mate, but as you're quite rightly saying, we can't get away with letting them through on goal. If this is like a top 3 or 4 side, we get turned over at home. There were so many chances there. The ball's over the top. Defenders hate running towards their own goal. We know that. But ultimately, on another day, Chippenham could quite easily come away from the park with all 3 points.
It's interesting what you say about they should have punished us, Lee, because their trouble has been scoring goals. Their defence is tight. We got the penalty. Jeff has scored in 3 games, of course. But they had that one, which was mentioned there, a slice shot wide. And that other one, Will Richards went through 1-on-1 and he didn't even put it on target. It's almost like watching Akinola. Well, no, of course, he's got his scoring boots on there, hasn't he? But yes. You get my drift. But as has been mentioned, they had their chances and they didn't make the most of them. But what about us as an attacking entity? First half, not a lot.
No, I think it was disappointing because, this season we haven't looked too bad going forward. Defensively, obviously, there's been a lot of questions. And again, we did see that Saturday. But yeah, going forward, wasn't anything spectacular at all. Bit better second half. I do wonder if the loss of Devontae has showed ever so slightly. He did really get forward at times. And I think maybe that's just slightly unbalanced the team a little bit.
But also, fellas, it's been a rough week, Let's not mince it around. It's been a rough week. Ian said so much in his post-match as well. You can only imagine what state, emotionally the players are in. the club have done fantastically well to keep us updated over the course of the week about his Devontae's situation. But the one thing as well, Tabs, you said there that Chippenham sort of foul is the fact that they can't score goals. But on the other hand, we just can't keep them out at the minute. And it does sound as though we've always got to score 2 if we're going to win a game. Defensive frailties have shone again on Saturday in large spells, but ultimately we did get a point, and it was a well-deserved point. But we have to perform better than that. But I'm taking so much out of it that it's been a rough week for the whole club, and we look sort of focused now on Slough.
Of course, the goal we conceded, as you said, was a soft penalty. So without that, they wouldn't have scored at all. So suddenly our defence doesn't look so bad. And what about Ellacott and David coming in at right back? We were wondering who was going to go there. What did you make of him?
I mean, I really thought it'd be Big Dave myself. I know we bigged him up so much last week, but
Big Dave!
Big Dave. But you know, he's a reliable there. He does a great job. And speaking to a couple of people inside the club in the days before the game, there really was a question mark of who are we going to get to play here? There's some real questions over who can do it, because there didn't seem to be any sort of plan to bring someone else in that we thought there might be. That didn't seem to happen. I don't know if we might see it in the next week or two. And yeah, I mean, Banny, he didn't come across too well on the video highlights. And of course, he did give away the penalty as well, even if it was soft. I don't know what you thought of him in person, Dave.
Coming in at short notice like that, I don't know if that's his natural position. Don't really know a lot about. I know we saw him pre-season, but pre-season games go over my head. I'm more interested in just taking in the lovely summer sunshine. Bit like today. Oh no, we've got a podcast.
Is this country file or what? What's going on here?
Funny enough, he did what Liam Soul did down at Tunbridge. First couple of times the ball come to him, he thought, I'll let that go under my foot. Oh, it's gone out. Which is a bit unfortunate because it's unsettling from the start. Another game Saturday, 90 minutes behind him, maybe a bit more solid. But I know what we said about defence, but they did keep a clean sheet apart from that soft penalty. So take some comfort from that. Yeah,
I suppose we can. And like Lee says, at the end of the day, this whole week has been such a roller coaster for the whole club. Thankfully, it does sound like Devontae is slowly on the mend, and hopefully he'll be able to see the players in the squad soon. But even now, players are posting sort of messages to Devontae on social media. I know they wore the shirts as well on Saturday. So it does really seem to have impacted the squad a huge amount. And we do have to factor that in. So, yeah, hopefully he's getting better now, and we can slowly move on from not a great result, really.
Right. In addition to Peter Lawrence, I stood next to Steve Oliver, 250 odd games, Terry Benning, 200 odd games, Alan Paradise, 150. It was great to see those old boys from the 1980s. I know they're from before your time, but it was good to see them back down there. A couple of other City old boys as well down there. Dickie Lask, not far off 100 games, and Nicky Goodchild. He's just in single digits, but his son played for us as well. And I think what we all pretty much noticed, the grass, it looked quite long Saturday. And I believe you two, up to date with this thing called social media and never catch on, has been comment on that.
Yeah, I think over the last probably season and a half, 2 seasons, I've seen a lot of, well, not a lot, but I've seen quite a few comments from supporters asking about the state of the pitch, because it hasn't been as great as maybe the Clarence Park pitches seem to be in wider non-league football. And yeah, it does surprise me, especially it was already not particularly amazing, but they seem to be making it longer, and it doesn't. I wouldn't say that particularly suits our style of play to make it as long as possible and make it a bit slower than usual. Yeah, I don't know what you guys think. Again, Dave, you being in there in person on Saturday, what did it come across for you?
Straight away, I said, grass looks long. I think the reason being, not having had a word from the inside at all, couldn't be further on the outside, I can't think about it. It's been very, very dry lately, and our sprinkler system, it's not just antiquated, it virtually doesn't exist. So to protect the pitch, you tend to leave the grass a little bit longer. And I wonder if that's what they did. But that doesn't hide the fact that underneath, it will still be very bobbly. It has been for years. That pitch needs a lot doing to it. Do you remember season got promoted, George Sykes against Biggleswade?
Mm.
Shot going in, Ian Brown goes down to get it, boom, over him and in the net. And I just wonder if they left it long to avoid that sort of thing happening again. Any thoughts, Lee?
Well, we've gone from Countryfile onto Gardener's World now, fellas, haven't we? So, I mean, Jake will back this up 100%. But when we were sort of speaking to Ian as part of the media team on a Friday or a Thursday, he was never happy with the pitch. Never happy with the pitch. He could have it cut 2 or 3 times a week, and he was never really truly happy with it. But I suppose that's just, you know, managers' mentality of they're just moaning about something. It looks patchy, if I'm honest, but to be honest with you, we've got our squad of players should be performing on whatever surface we get given. It's not been the best, let's face it. And, you know, there were, I seem to remember, 98, 99 as well. Lee Page, remember him? He was driving his milk float. It was Paul Farmer's milk float on the pitch, and Lee Page was sort of shoveling seed off the back, and the chairman at the time, Lee Harding, he was rolling over it, trying to like rotivate it, and I was sort of there just to, you know,
just
annoyance.
Watching, doing nothing, yeah?
Pretty much, mate, yeah. That's it. But, you know, it's gone from those days to now we've got a professional company who maintain professional pitches all around the country. So if it's been left long, then that's for a purpose, either tactically, sort of try and hold the ball up for our wingers as we are advancing. But apart from that, fellas, I mean, Ian's never happy with the pitch. So if he's not happy with it, cut it. You know, he's the manager. So
I suppose
Tim Petty went down the park last night for the Watford under-23 versus Newcastle United under-23 match, and they criticised it as well. And he says, grass is long and clumpy. I assume he means the grass. It might be the Newcastle players from where he said they played. But so last night they hadn't even cut it before that game either.
I was just about to say, do you think Saturday was because of that impending Premier League Cup game on the Monday? But with Tim's report, and you know, Tim is somewhat accurate some of the time, it clearly can't have been. So, and it does. I will say, when we got this partnership with Watford, there was a lot of talk, I remember, about us getting a whole new pitch, getting it all properly, professionally done, totally remade, ripped up, because you've got pretty much, you know, Premier League, Championship quality players coming in and playing on it fairly regularly. And that doesn't seem to have happened. Even, I think, a couple of summers ago, a year after the partnership, there was a lot of talk. I remember talking to you, Dave, actually, at the time. They were going to totally rip it up and redo it properly. And that never seems to have happened. I know they've done there's some good work on it. And of course, the company volunteers like Lee Page still do some work on it. But it's never quite had that renewal work that it's really needed. And if we're not going to do it when we've got Watford as a partnership, when is it ever going to happen? Because it, like Lee indicates there, you need a lot of money to do it.
But also, though, Jake, the fact is that, and I don't think I'm wrong in saying this, there was a lot of promises being made in that partnership that never really materialised over the course of the 2 years. So if the club are to get stuck with the bill, what would the fans rather? Would the fans rather us spent 10 grand, 15 grand on getting a whole new pitch? Or do you want us to go out and get John Jeffers? You know, or do you want us to go out and get the top end players? Keep David Noble, keep Tom Bender. You know, it's the fine margins of budget are so minute when it comes to a club of the size of ours. You know, we haven't got the money to go and spend 15 grand on just getting a new pitch. Bearing in mind as well that money wasn't exactly rife, was it, in the lockdown? So, but again, there were promises made by Premier League Watford. Whether they came through or not, I don't know.
It's interesting what you say about what you looked to get from the partnership to improve our facilities, if you like, because you look at Bruffinch Road and the club that plays there. They've benefited quite well from having Arsenal reserves there. You look at Kings Langley, they've got Watford Ladies. Look at the way their facilities have improved beyond all recognition. And what have you got at Clarence Park? We don't seem to. You look around the stadium, you don't see a lot of benefits that have come from this partnership. Maybe it was never intended. Maybe nothing was written down along those lines. Who knows? We certainly don't.
No, but I think Kings Langley is the perfect example of there, isn't it? Considering they have that similar partnership with Watford Ladies, and it's just never come out of it. And all the changes that we have seen to Clarence Park have come from the club and volunteers. Nothing to do with Watford, as far as we're aware.
While we're on the ground, another thing which you mentioned to me has come across on social media is about the sound system. I went to town with it on my notes this weekend. it's atrocious.
Yeah, there's lots of comments on social and also the Saints chat forum. Lots of comments about the quality of the sound system, especially on the far side, Coca-Cola stand. They said in the main stand, the seated Victorian stand, it's quite easy to hear because it's very loud by all accounts. I haven't particularly been over that side much this season. But on the Coca-Cola side, really hard to hear. Sounds like it's totally whatever imbalanced. I don't know what the problem is. And also quite a few comments as well about could we have a bit more variety than just Enter Shikari, which is quite interesting to me because obviously Shikari are going to expect to have the majority of the music or at least half the music, but you would like to hear something other than just them, wouldn't you? I mean, a bit of variety, a bit of a mix.
To be fair though, Jake, if the fans wanted to sort of hear, you know, oh my God, what's he gone? Born to Run.
Oh dear.
If the fans wanted to sort of hear, you know, shouty, angry dirge, just get Tabs on there and they'd be absolutely sort of laughing. So,
oh dear.
Right, in the stand, you don't hear it clearly, Jake. It bursts your eardrums. All the speakers are on that side of the ground, ridiculously. I don't know who's come up with this idea. And inside the stand, it is far too loud. You try and have a conversation, you're shouting to the person you're talking to, and that shouldn't have to happen. Music should be background of football grounds. You go there for the football and the social side to talk to your friends. You're not at a gig. You don't want to hear that stuff at beyond legal decibel limits, which I've got no doubt it probably is. And on the far side, of course, you've got no stands. All you get, no speakers. All you're getting is this muffled sound. It's probably not worth hearing anyway, whatever the DJ's saying. But it would be nice just to make certain. And you can't make it out on the far side. It's awful.
On the far side, what's it like with the announcements? Like, are they quite muffled as well? Because that is more important than the music, isn't it? On that far side, because fans on the far side, Coca-Cola side, etc., want to hear those announcements. You know, there's announcements promoting the club, promoting the volunteering, etc., and also stuff like again goal scorers or minutes of goals. That does matter to fans, especially when it is, say, a Chippenham player scoring or a player you don't know.
You couldn't hear it, Jake. On the far side, you couldn't make those details out.
Okay. So, I mean, why is that? Because that before the lockdown, I don't think the sound system was a particular issue at Clarence Park. I don't know what you two think, but I never had a huge issue in terms of the quality of it. So why has it now come about like that?
I was up with the gods the last 3 seasons prior to and up there I could hear it clearly. Yeah. And if it was too loud, I would let Danny know, and he would turn it down. Or if it's too quiet, he'd put it up a bit. Because there was there a speaker on our side? I think there was.
There was, wasn't there? So why is that not used anymore?
Exactly.
Very strange, isn't it? And it's
so
just
is the gripe now really? So the comments and the amount of comments, is it really regarding the fact they're playing too much Enter Shikari, or the fact that they just can't hear it at all?
It was twofold. I think the main one is the fact you just can't. It's just muffled, really. I think that is the main complaint, and that is the main issue that I think fans would like the club to address fairly quickly.
I think it's threefold. It's one you mentioned there. You can't hear it on the far side. 2 is whoever's making that row with the drums and guitars and whatnot, and on the other side, it is unpleasant to be around that volume. It shouldn't be like that. They've got to sort it out.
I think it was a complaint in pre-season, and the trust did speak to the club about it. I think it was maybe fixed slightly for the final pre-season game, but it seems to have come back again. So
well worth talking to the club. We know they respond to requests and complaints, don't they?
Oh dear. Well, hopefully it is listened to, and the club does look to fix it, because you just want a pleasant match day experience at the end of the day, doesn't it? And that is what a lot of the work the club has done this summer.
Go to Hemel then, Jake. You'll enjoy that at the moment.
Yeah, they're great, aren't they? I mean, nothing says pleasant nights like 0-0 at half time and then losing 6-0 to Dulwich with a spectacular array of goals conceded, by the way.
Have they actually changed their name to Hemel Hempstead Town Nil?
That is a...
You know what's going to happen Saturday now. They get 6 and we get 0.
Yep.
Such is football.
Oh, brilliant.
Talking of Saturday, we've got a National League South fixture, Arbour Park, away to Slough Town. They're not firing on all cylinders yet this season.
No, not at all. And I think we should go there very confident. No, it's another good opportunity to pick up 3 points. I think Ian will be confident going there. You know, the Saints season hasn't really got started, has it? It's been a bit you know, not quite. And of course, the part of that's down to the injury to Devontae. No one could do anything about that. But it's, you know, it's now the almost, you know, end of the second week of September, and the Saints just haven't got going. And with the cup coming in now as well, you're going to want to get another 3 points on the board, aren't you? Just move yourself slightly up that table. You know, it comes, you know, by, you know, reach the end of September and there's not many wins on the board. You're just starting to get that slight bit of worry, aren't you? So
Jacob, I'm gonna stop you there, mate. Tabs will remember when we used to play Slough on a regular basis. Graham Roberts was in charge. We used to absolutely batter them season after season. Listen, same thing Saturday. You watch it, mate. 3-0 City. Well, no, 3-1 because we can't stop conceding goals, but 3-1. Mark my words, young man.
Loving the confidence. Absolutely.
Oh, good grief. Is he allowed to jump in that early with his prediction?
I think so.
No, right, okay. Their 2 home games, they've beaten Chelmsford 1-0 and they lost to Chippenham 1-0. Away from home, 1 point from 2 games, a draw at Welling, and got stuffed at Dartford. I haven't really looked at their squad this season, I must admit. It's good to see we've all done our homework. Yeah, jolly good.
I mean, I have to say, in recent years, our park hasn't been a particularly happy hunting ground for the Saints either. I don't have great memories going there recently. And of course, it's another one of our favourite 3G pitches, isn't it?
You shouldn't have happy memories. Wasn't your birthday there 2 seasons ago?
It was, but I don't know how we got on. Can't remember it.
So, Tabs, here we go, mate. So you've just stated that our pitch hasn't been the best. And I know that there are rules and regulations now to prevent 3G pitches, 4G pitches, etc. Would you have rather of us had one sort of 2-3 years ago and just bypass all this nonsense about pitches and bumpiness and Tim Petty going to watch Watford under 23s?
The trouble is, Liz, you know, I'm an old git. Football was played on grass when I was a kid.
True story, David.
And tradition, you know, to me, football should be played on grass. That said, there have been some very good 3G ones. Sutton United, which of course they've had to rip up now they've gone into the Football League. Dorking, for all of its horrible black nodules on it, it didn't play too badly, I didn't think. Oxford City's has been erratic. We'll see what that one's like. Yes, they can be good.
I only say that because St Albans and District Council are in the process of finalising details of 3 or 4 extra sets of artificial pitches across the county for various leisure. So Harpenden Town are going to be one of the benefactors of that. That's in the pipeline as well. So you know, there's possibilities there. You know, for not clubs of our stature, but lower league clubs, not only bringing in commercial enterprise, but also getting an all year round pitch. So
yeah, but we'd have to rip it up 2 years' time when we go into the Football League.
There you go, optimism, mate. There you go.
I've just reviewed that game, Dave, on my birthday. Of course, Ichiafano scored, and guess who got the assist? Bobson Bowling. Remember him?
Bobson Bowling. Those we have known and loved, eh?
Good old Bob.
Right, good stuff.
Right, what do you... Talking of grounds, we've had a good enough go at Clarence Park this evening. Arbor Park, it's not one of our favourites, is it? The stand looks great. You approach the ground, it looks terrific. It's not theirs, it's council owned, and it is a multi-complex ground, and that is the problem with it. There's stands here and there, there's vast empty spaces where there's nothing. It's bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah, in my mind, it just looks like a bit of a Lego kit stadium, doesn't it? It's just put together by the council. We don't really know. They just want a facility to use, and it's just nothing that inspiring, is it? It's just a generic kit ground. And yeah, like you say, the main stand is really nice, and the bar area and club area at the top of the stand is lovely. And that's about it. That's really all it's got going for it.
Oh, you'll be happy then.
Precisely.
If you were going for a change.
But yeah, it doesn't strike you as the most exciting ground, does it, at all?
No. I remember last time I went with Ian Hall, and we did a search for the old Slough Town grounds. We started off.
I'll tell you what,
the Dolphin.
That's a conversation of the highest order, isn't it? Eh? No, I don't think I would do, Taz. No, I don't think I would do, mate, if I'm honest with you. I think you're playing that line to me now.
We started off where the Dolphin was, their original ground, which is now a giant Tesco. That's the ground where Roger Day punched Bill Ratty and broke his jaw in the Amateur Cup in John Mitchell's penultimate game before he went to Fulham. So not exactly happy memories, that one. And then at the current ground, you can still see the old one. It's still there, Wexham Park. And if you get bored by half time, I might go over there Saturday.
When are they turning Arbor Park into a massive Tesco?
Would be a bad idea, would it?
Oh, dear.
Right.
On that note,
I've got something else. We received news this week, thanks to Andy Hammond. He sent me the link. Sad news of the death of one of our old players, Les Burgess, on the 12th of August at the age of 81. I know it's before you two time, but he played in the first City match I ever saw in 1970. He joined us from Chesham United. The previous season, this is 1968, he captained Chesham in the Amateur Cup final against Leytonstone in front of 52,000 at Wembley. Can you imagine a trophy getting those sort of gates now? Because that's effectively replaced the Amateur Cup. It never does. When he was with us, second round of the FA Cup against Walsall, semi-final of the Amateur Cup. In both those competitions, he played in front of 10,000 people. Replay at Walsall and the Amateur Cup quarter-final away to Wycombe Wanderers. Phenomenal gates we were getting back then. He won quite a few cups with us, and he was a Hertfordshire. He played for Hertfordshire county player, and also, where was I going? Oh, yes, he worked for the Admiralty. He was a public relations officer for the Royal Navy. He worked at the Admiralty in Whitehall. And there's this great picture of him. He's apparently dressed like it every day. Proper English gent, in a suit, briefcase, umbrella, bowler hat, and he was impeccable. All the time, Les was impeccable. He played for a few other clubs as well, but that'll all be on his profile, which you go on the website, on the history website, with saintstatistics.co.uk. Yeah, Weber, I got it right for a change. That'll go on in the next couple of days. So that's RIP Les Burgess, 294 games for the club.
excellent. And speaking of ex-players, we had a certain Mr. S. Clark on our podcast last week, and his partner in crime from 92, 93, Dean Williams, Dino, sent me the most amazing picture that he caught up at the Martin Gittings testimonial match. And that's going to be on our Twitter feed shortly after this podcast. It's an amazing picture of two fantastic players from a great time in our club's history. So do check that out.
Good old Dino. Incredible. You think he got 30 goals that season, 92, 93, and he wasn't top goal scorer.
No.
Can you imagine that now?
Crazy.
Chippenham would love it. All right, we said Jimmy Gray was going to be on the podcast this week. Well, we lied because that's what we do. He's actually on next Tuesday. We're recording it next Tuesday with Jimmy. And
what was his excuse, Tabs?
Sorry?
Any reason? What was his excuse this time?
He's playing golf. Jake's playing five-a-side Wednesday. You're watching Crossroads on Thursday, I think. That was pretty much it, wasn't it?
Oh, dear. Crossroads.
To be fair, Jake, you do look a little bit like Benny. Give yourself a little like a tea cozy hat, mate, and you're well away. He has no idea who I'm talking about. You know, as soon as this pod is over, he'll be Googling Benny from Crossroads.
I will be. Oh, God.
Yeah, Lee, give him this.
Oh, mate.
That's excellent. I can feel some Photoshop work coming on in time for the next podcast, fellas.
No, you're too busy, Lee. Too busy.
I am too busy.
Well, look, there's the Amateur Cup final that Les Burgess played in against Leytonstone.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, actually, I nicked that. That was Peter Taylor's.
Right.
We done?
I think we are, fellas.
Well,
we are.
No,
Yeah.
we've still got to talk about an FA Cup draw.
Oh, the FA Cup. Yes, you're right, Jake. Good job. You know what's going on. Yes, the FA Cup draw. The club kept very quiet. No pre-draw excitement building up. It just suddenly hit us, and it's Concord Rangers away a week on Saturday. Were we thrilled?
No, that's blooming awful.
Was it not like 101 best FA Cup first qualifying round draws? No, from the club. Disappointing. Disappointing.
No, the World Cup of FA Cup first qualifying round draws.
We played them before. We played them before in the FA Cup, of course. They about 8 years ago. But they beat us 1-0 down the park in the final qualifying round. And one of those clubs we've not got a fantastic record against. I don't think of late. I haven't checked it. That was the
Classico fiasco, wasn't it?
Oh,
When
with
John
Frendo.
Frendo wasn't there
Oh,
that game.
a memorable game. Memorable. Do you think this one will be as memorable?
I doubt it.
No,
Are they ever?
no. It really is up there with some of the most uninspiring cup draws we've had, isn't it? I mean, especially in recent years. I mean, Concord away. Like, at least give us the league from, a club from a different league or something. Like,
Well, their home record this season, they've beaten Dorking, Hampton, Hemel. 3 out of 3. 1 goal conceded. And they've got a week off this weekend. They haven't got a game. So either they're going to be a little bit rusty, haven't had a fortnight break, or they're going to be fresh. Take your pick.
there's something in the air down there in Essex, and I wouldn't say it's anything to do with the football, but apparently it's helping them.
You said 101 best FA Cup draws or whatever, Lee. Any particular memories? One from your first season, I would have thought, one of the qualifying round matches.
Oh, mate. They all sort of merge into one after a while. I mean, I used to hate going to Whitehawk. Oh my God. It's just like, you talk about Slough's identikit and it's like patchy. There's a bank of seats here. Going to Whitehawk was just horrendous. It was just, why is God punishing me? He sent me to Whitehawk, seriously. Like us in Concord. I mean, come on.
Am I the only one that ever enjoyed Whitehawk? I enjoyed it there. Always did.
For what reason? For what reason could you possibly enjoy Whitehawk?
Their fans made a great atmosphere. I was standing on that far bank filming it, so I didn't have any of the riffraff around me. And the countryside around it was beautiful.
Taz, you've got a graveyard at one end. You've got a caravan park backing onto the main stand. You've just got a mound of dirt, and then you've got basically the sea, preceded by a load of plastic broken chairs.
But what about Concord then? You got, is it the gasometer at one end? You've got the cesspit at the other end, the car park at another end, and the caravan site on the other side.
But you're suggesting that I'm actually liking to go there? Absolutely not. I mean,
I've looked around Whitehawk.
I mean, the highlight of Concord is probably seeing the massive ships pass in the background, isn't it?
Mate, the highlight of Concord is the road out. That's basically...
You saw that one come in.
Yeah, but the game I was referring to, Lee, in your first season, the qualifying game, of course, that one at Stevenage, you pray for cup ties like that, don't you? You really don't know which way it's going.
I remember, was that the season we played, was it Barton Rovers in the earlier round? Or have I just made that up entirely?
You made it up.
Yeah, probably. But the Stevenage, that was the third qualifying round, wasn't it? And that was an emotional night. It really was. The park was packed. We took them back from like a replay as well. So, it was fantastic memories. If you get a good cup run, it can really, really bring the whole city together. But we've got to do it the hard way, fellas. We've got to go to Concord.
Yeah. And we've had some really awful qualifying games in recent years as well. Two that stick out for me, apart from Stortford last season, was Taunton away. We lost 5-2 to a team in the league below us a couple of seasons ago on a Tuesday night.
That's after we had that trouble with whoever it was, Casuals, was it?
Corinthian Casuals, yeah. And
Casuals, yeah.
And a year later, going all the way down to Weymouth, again, another club in the same division, getting tonked 4-1 and being lucky to get away with 4, to be honest. So we've not really had some great games in recent years, amongst some of the better ones, at least. Not feeling confident. Should
we go back to 1968, 69 then, when Les Burgess was in that City side, got through to the second round? That's more interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh dear me.
Well, we wish. Happy days.
Happy days indeed. But we've got to be confident, lads. Win against Slough, and then we build to the FA Cup.
Are you bothering to go to any of these games, Jake?
Might dabble with Concord, I suppose.
Might dabble with Concord. Make sure you have your jabs, mate. I tell you, you'll catch anything down there.
Do you want to dabble a prediction for Slough as well, Jake?
Yes, I will go 4-2 Saints.
Is it 4-2?
He's a fool.
He's a fool. He didn't need to give us that score to tell us that. We already knew.
Well, that's exactly. It's hardly news to the viewers, is it?
No, I think they're gone by now. Right, as we say, back next week, we'll be reviewing the 4-2 or 3-1 win at Slough And also we'll have Jimmy Gray on a special edition after that as well. Both recorded on the same day. And Joke's about to say something interesting.
I was going to say, just as long as Jimmy isn't golfing. But don't forget to follow us on Twitter. Yes, a Podful of Saints. And also send us an email. It's in the description as well. And I think that's it, isn't it, Dave? Are we heading off?
Long time ago. Let's go.
Brilliant. See you later, everyone.
See you next week.
Take care.